Because I have that in the back too. That's a whole other bag. I take that cable with. And that's got the other vertical that I run 80 on.
Okay. Alrighty, we're revisiting with Jay and to talk a little bit about what he actually does on his camping or hiking runs with all this equipment. And he'll be back here in a second. I know he uses this HT. This is an APRS capable HT. Kenwood D72. And we'll be
Hey, I got a purple bag just like that.
We'll be back in a minute. Oh, here he is.
I bet I have more in mine now. You probably do. Because I have an HF antenna in mine as well.
Ah, okay.
That's just
What is this now, Jay?
So this is the bag that you can get from Arrow Antennas.
Oh, yes.
Or the different Arrow Antenna VHF and UHF antennas. And I got this because I got tired of cramming elements all through there, because I carry the satellite antenna when I do my SOTA stuff, so I have 2 meters and 440. But what I also use this for is another HF vertical that I have. That, while the buddy pole is great on the higher bands, the coil isn't big enough for the low bands. And it's good for 40, but you really got to mess with it, and the SWR isn't much better than 2 to 1. It's just not designed for it. This one is one I got off of eBay, I believe. Yeah, I was off of eBay, and it uses a collar. So you slide the collar to resonance up and down, and since the coil is much bigger,
it's a manual screwdriver.
Manual screwdriver, exactly. Well, if you're trying to use it for 10 or 12 or 15, you're way up at the top, and I mean, you sneeze on it and it's way off. But for 80 and 60, you've got plenty of space to really fine tune. Now,
I see.
You've got 10 feet of brass vertical elements that go on top of it, and it has the same type of mounting structure that will screw in, and same type of mount like it does to a tripod or the clamp. But it's a one coil with a bunch of brass rods, trailing wire off the side. Not all that efficient, but it will get you on the air.
Okay.
And that's what this is what it is for me. Is I realize this isn't the most efficient antenna. That up in the sky is a lot more efficient on 80 than what I have here.
Jay is pointing to the G5R RV.
What, 40 feet up in the air?
At least.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit more. Yeah.
But I could carry this in a backpack and 5 watts and get on the air and work locals.
Yeah. Is there a name for it?
There is.
Is it still sold?
It is. GreatLakesAntennas.com.
Okay.
Is the guy who makes it.
Cool. Let me see if I can actually get that in there.
And he makes one that is sealed, much like the Perth Outbacker.
Oh, yeah.
That has the plug-in taps.
Taps, yeah.
For mobile. So you just basically get out of the car and re-tap to the band you want, and then he sells this one that's just a slide collar. So you set it all up like you do that, and you get there and you measure by noise. So you put your receiver on 3840. And as you slide it up, you hear the noise increase or decrease. And as it gets louder, you just start fine-tuning it. And then you play with your counterpoise wire to peak for the best signal, and you're off and running.
Now, your 817 has a tuner built in or no?
817 does not. So I really need to pay attention when I'm doing all this.
Yeah.
Because I don't like carrying a tuner. It's just extra weight. So that's why I flag off the different points on the radio and really have to pay attention by ear. And it takes a little longer, but once you do it several times, you'll get used to it, and you know approximately where you are.
Right. Now you do have an SWR meter on the radio, so that helps.
Yeah. So right now, this antenna on 17, I'm running about a 1.6 to 1.7.
No,
I'm happy with that. I'm fine.
Sure.
I mean, I don't need a 1-to-1. I don't need to spend 20 more minutes trying to fuss with it. I'd rather spend the 20 minutes on the air working people.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So
very nice setup.
That's the beam for the 2-meter arrow antenna, and there's the 2-meter elements and the 440 elements, and this is the bag you can get. And I thought,
so you use that for SOTA, for UHF, VHF simplex, and do you also use it for? Well, I guess it would come in handy if you want to hit a repeater that's quite distant for an emergency.
Yep.
And what about, you ever do any satellite work?
I have done satellite work with this.
Uh-huh.
It's holding the antenna and the radio
Yeah.
and a log all at the same time is a
Yeah.
wicked forearm workout.
Yeah.
But it is possible, and you can just stand in the background with an HT and just aim it that way, and just as it moves, you just move the antenna, and it works great. I've done it
Wonderful.
many a times in the dead of winter back on the East Coast, where I would be standing in boots and about 1.5 feet of snow with a robe on because the pass was coming, and I'd work the satellite, then run back inside.
Very good.
It absolutely
Very
works for
good.
that.
Tell us about when you're out and about on SOTA and other activities. I see that Kenwood D72, you're using that for APRS positioning as well as reporting and beaconing your SOTA experience and
Yeah,
so forth.
I use this for APRS and for when I'm working stations for VHF from the peaks. Well, the 817 does have VHF in it. The internal batteries aren't that great, so you'll burn through the batteries really fast. So if I'm going to run the 817 and I'm going to have HF, I'll bring the 817 plus an external battery. If I'm going to be there a while, I may even bring up the solar. But if I'm just going to go up, as an example, run up one of the local hills here, 5,000 feet, they're not really a hill, they're a mountain. But if I'm going to go up there, I'll just bring the HT and the beam and just use this as my primary source. And
Okay.
for all of Queen Creek, from 5,000 feet, that's all I need is a rubber duck. I'm easily going to get 4 or 5 people.
Yeah.
But I throw the beam on there, now I'm possibly talking to someone in Tucson
Yeah.
on 2 meter FM, which is
Right.
kind of cool when you're sitting on top of a mountain
Yeah.
with 2 watts coming out of an HT.
I'd agree. Yeah, absolutely. That's wonderful stuff. Yep.
I had the THD7 initially,
Mm-hmm.
the 7AG, but you need an external GPS. And it just became all these parts that you had to have and plug it
Right,
in and make
right.
sure it worked. So when the 72
And all
came
opportunity for losing in the woods and whatnot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
when this came out with the built-in GPS, I jumped right on it. And
Yeah.
I love
And
this
as
thing.
most of us who do know handheld and mobile APRS radios, Kenwood is only really the only game in town
Yeah.
where the controllable TNC.
Yep.
The ACVX series, while they're very good in ARPRS messaging and beaconing and so forth, they don't provide access to the internal TNC.
Yep.
So,
And one of the tricks for if you do get one of these and you're new to APRS, you want to play, what will happen is folks will put it on the APRS frequency and they'll be hearing that all day long,
yeah,
that brap of the beacon. So create another frequency, put a tone squelch on it,
preferably 100.
preferably 100. So that way, anyone who's not close to you, let me repeat that. Anyone who's not running the tone, you won't hear it. So
Correct.
you'll see the position show up on the radio and you'll see that it's active.
Right.
But that will also give you an alert. So if you do hear it, you know that station is
That's
physically
right.
close to you.
Yeah, usually the way Bob Bruninga set it up, the creator, is that it's called voice alert.
Voice alert. Yep.
And for someone who's in an area that wants to speak to another ham who may be checking out and monitoring APRS, that voice alert will come through. You'll decode it, you'll hear it, and then you'll move to another frequency by agreement, and there you go. Yeah, it's a great tool. Some people use it, and more people should, because no reason. Now, you can, in the menu system, shut off that BRAP and the audio, but why
Yes.
bother when you
Right.
can just set up,
A separate frequency.
what do you got, 1,000 memories in
Yeah,
there?
it's something
Right.
ridiculous like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
so
takes
just
a
set it
little
up. Absolutely. And if you want truly, just within your own group or search and rescue group, just make that voice control code tone something other than 100.
88, 120, 156,
Right.
whatever.
And now then it becomes a private
Yep.
system in a sense. Very good. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I appreciate the little update on the station with the other portable HF and the APRS setup. Alrighty, and 2QOJ signing off for this session of Radios in the Park, October 10th, 2015.